Welcome in, episode 249, What's Right with Nick Wright. Not a live show today, so if you're watching this when it posts on YouTube, you didn't miss the live show. And we're also going to have a legitimately slightly shorter show than usual today because I have to get out of here to handle some personal things, and we had some tech difficulties off the top. But other than that, it'll be totally normal for everyone listening on their favorite audio platforms or watching on YouTube. Also, I know it's a weird time to request you subscribe, rate, review since we're not able to go live today, but I always forget to ask you guys to do that, and every pod I listen to always says subscribe, rate, review, so go ahead and do that for us if you can. We will still tell you what missed the cut for today's show. Lindsey Harding joining the Lakers coaching staff, becoming the first female coach in Lakers history. Kyrie undergoing surgery for a broken hand. That's a little ominous for the Mavs. Also, Demonze, I don't know if you saw, Chris Middleton had double ankle surgery. He had arthroscopic surgery, which is the minor surgery, but on both of his ankles. And Steph, we found out, sick of hearing not like us. LeBron, not so sick of hearing not like us. Also, I am now putting out there that I believe, Demonze, unless LeBron decides I'm just tired of playing basketball and only plays 2 more years, because I think he could play at a all-star-ish level. Not the level he's at right now, but like around the 20th best player in the league level for maybe 6 more years.
6.
If he decides he wants to do that, I think he and Steph are going to be teammates one day. I don't know where, and I don't know under what circumstances, but I think those guys want to play together, and I think right now they're about to both go through wildly frustrating seasons where both of them are still top 10 players in the league, and neither of them are competing for anything other than to hopefully avoid the play-in. And I just wonder if this month together with the Olympics is going to get them on the same page if LeBron wants to play for a long time. All right, Demonze, what are we starting the show with?
Yeah, so your Chiefs obviously had to endure a lot of criticism last year with the stagnant play. But after winning back-to-back Super Bowls, nobody can no longer criticize them. Besides one person, and that's Patrick Mahomes. Mm-hmm. He said that last year wasn't fun and they weren't getting better on a week-to-week basis. So my question to you is, anything short of a three-peat, would that be a fun season for your Chiefs and Mahomes?
No. I mean, at this point, they are the ultimate. Anything short of a championship's a failure. They haven't, their worst season since Mahomes took over is losing in the conference title game in overtime. That's been the floor. So missing the playoffs is not winning the division is, far removed from that. Just losing a close round 2 playoff game would be their worst season. Losing in the Super Bowl is their 3rd worst season. But so it's not just about what the ultimate goal is. But I think Patrick is very good at saying things without saying anything. But this was real honesty, which was obviously the ultimate goal is to win. And because they won, you're okay with what happened last season. But I do not think the way they played last season, not only from a struggles perspective, but from a style of play perspective, is how Patrick wants to play. He doesn't want to dink and dunk and 13 play drives and be grinding stuff out.
So by fun, he means go out there and destroy everybody.
Well, I think by fun, he also means chuck that sucker deep. Yeah. I think by fun, he means remind everyone that he's got the best arm in football. And you saw that they went out and signed in free agency Hollywood Brown, who is a pure speedster, and they used a 1st-round pick on Xavier Worthy, who's 160 pounds, the fastest player to ever run in the combine. So that they prioritize being able to take the top off the defense the way they were able to with Tyreek Hill. Because 2 years ago, the first year without Tyreek, they scored a ton of points, and I'm sure it was more fun. But again, there was it was short stuff. I think Patrick had like 31 touchdowns to running backs and tight ends, an NFL record at the time. It wasn't the laser show that we've become accustomed to with the Chiefs. And the other thing, DeMonze, that Patrick said that I found interesting was about Xavier Worthy. So Xavier Worthy was the first round pick and then missed essentially almost all of the offseason prior to training camp dealing with a hamstring issue. And Patrick's quotes were along the lines of like, listen, man, there's no slowly coming along. Like, we need you. We're going to be relying on you, and you need to be available and with the program. I also, this morning, my pal Greg Rosenthal just started a new venture with the NFL called NFL Today, NFL Daily. I should know his venture if I'm going to... NFL Daily. He used to do Around the NFL, him, Hansis, and Sessler. And the NFL, kind of without announcement and unceremoniously, ended that after they'd done that pod, DeMonte, for more than a decade together. And I don't have all the details on that. As a listener and as a fan, I was bummed at how that thing ended. And I don't know Mark or Dan, and I wish them the best. That was a great show. But Greg has now transitioned to this NFL Daily show, which is a great pod. It's a really good pod. It's new, and I enjoy it. And I was actually listening to it this morning. And he had Jordan Rodrigue on, and she said something that I thought was super smart that I had not considered, which was that guys who are specifically training for the combine, for the 40-yard dash, and for those tests, they often then, post-combine, when they get to football practice, rookie OTAs, minicamp, stuff like that, suffer these soft tissue injuries because their body has been training for one specific thing and hasn't yet transitioned back to, real football stuff. And she kind of speculated, I don't even know if it was about Worthy or not, I think it was, that might have been what happened with Worthy. I thought that was super smart and something I hadn't considered, but hamstrings worry me. The kid in Green Bay, Watson, he's had a hamstring his whole career. He's available, he's excellent, then he's out 3 weeks with a hamstring. He's available, he's excellent, then he's out a game with a hamstring. So seeing the Chiefs' first-round pick, Xavier Worthy, miss most of the pre-training camp offseason with a hamstring was concerning. So watching to see if he's a healthy go for training camp is wildly important. The other weird thing, DeMonte, about kind of the way the NFL media cycle works, and it obviously applies to the Chiefs, is when's the last time anyone said anything about Rashee Rice's pending suspension? Like, it feels like that kind of got forgotten. Like it was a huge story and it should have been. Then he seemingly got in trouble again, and it was like, oh my God, what's going on? Then that second trouble went away entirely because the guy said it didn't happen. People can believe what they want to believe, but the guy who allegedly got hit said, no, I didn't get hit. It was a misunderstanding. And so, but I as a Chiefs fan, but as an NFL fan, the NFL has not told us, are they going to wait for the legal process to take course? The legal course? I said that weirdly. I apologize. But wait for that to play out before they levy a suspension. Because if they are, then he's not going to be suspended for any games this year. Because that's not going to happen until next offseason. If they aren't, then I would think that they could just go ahead and announce that suspension sooner than later, so so he and the team know what the rules are. But as of now, it's just kind of hanging over the team and I'm not sure, how that's going to roll out. But the fact of the matter is, the Chiefs are going to try to have a fireworks offense this year, and we'll see if they're able to do it. Go ahead, pal.
Yeah, how is it possible to have Kelsey on your team and not be leading the league in fun? And also another.
Well, I think they had a lot of fun. Maybe. Yeah, go ahead.
How do you feel about your quarterback saying that he wants to have fun on the verge of a three-peat? You don't sound worried at all, but I feel like that might worry some other fans.
Well, yeah, because other fans don't have the greatest player ever as their quarterback and leader. Yeah,
Okay.
That would worry fans of teams whose quarterbacks haven't accomplished 10% of what Patrick has. People are like, oh, he's bringing a TV to training camp this year. Guys, Patrick is locked in. And Patrick now has, with this past 2 years, winning an MVP without Tyreek Hill and winning a Super Bowl when everyone wrote the team off for dead, he has evolved somewhat already in his career, DeMonze, to the side quests portion. Like, I want to win and have fun. I want to win and maybe win another MVP. He's earned that right because he's won in every way imaginable. And so I'm not worried about that in the least. All right, let's go to the Jets.
So after the disaster of a season for the Jets last year, it seems like they're definitely going to run it back with their coaches. Reports are saying that they even reached out to Arthur Smith to call the plays for Nat Hackett's offense. Rodgers got a little chirpier. I think he got a little annoyed with Saleh by saying that his absence was excused on his Egypt trip. So
unexcused. Unexcused. He was upset that he called it unexcused, as I told you he would be. Go ahead.
Right. With all that said, do you think it's too early to start hammering the Jets under 9.5 wins?
No. Listen, I wouldn't necessarily hammer it because I think they're an 8 or 9 win team, which means I do think they're an under, but it's not like I think they're a 4-win team. The defense is too good. And assuming Rodgers plays 2/3 of the season, they'll have upgrade. Well, any amount of time he plays, they'll have an upgrade at quarterback play. But I do think that the team is wildly overvalued from a contention standpoint. And the Nat Hackett has that job because Rodgers believes in him. And I said this on the show yesterday because Rodgers, I think, is not happy that Robert Saleh aired him out somewhat and called that absence unexcused. I am just putting a few chips on the roulette table of takes, as Wilds would say, on the Jets get off to a bad start and we end up with interim head coach Nat Hackett. Even though they tried to, replace him in the shadows in the offseason, he is Rodgers' guy. Week 1, DeMonze, they play on Monday night against the Niners. That is a brutal spot, and if you remember the story of the Niners either last year or the year before, it was every team lost the week after they played the Niners. It was such a. Do you remember? I don't know if you remember that stat from a couple seasons ago. But it was such a physical brand of football. Okay, so they play the Niners on a Monday night, which means they then have the Titans, who I don't think are going to be good, but the Titans on a short week post playing Niners, and then another super short week Thursday night against the Patriots, who should be brutal. If somehow they were 0-3. I think Roberts, and then you have that mini bye before the Nat Hackett revenge game against Denver. I don't know. I wouldn't be too confident if I were. It is very important for Robert Saleh they get off to a good start. That especially if Rodgers is a little nonplussed with him. All right, what else do you have on this?
You called yesterday. You called Saleh Rob, Bob, Bobby, and Robbie. Bruce said you were subtly disrespected him. Do you have any other names you want to give him?
No, I don't have any others. The guy's name. There's a lot of variations of Robert. I don't. Let's see. So here's where I think that I am the most fair person in the media. Might be rude at times. Might be a little disrespectful. Nobody, when when the Broncos hired former Packers offensive coordinator, his name was Nathaniel Hackett. And then, as we saw him become an in-over-his-head head coach, he became Nate, and now he's Nat Hackett. And sometimes it's Nat can't hack it. People do all these things.
So it is a little bit of disrespect.
And nope. Yes. But my point is, it's consistent. Nobody had a problem at all with Nathaniel becoming Nat as like we don't take you seriously. So me calling Robert Saleh Rob or Robbie or Bob but yes, it is rude. I am not denying that it was rude, and it was to me harmless rude, but yes, it was rude, but it was consistent. And so I don't think
bad at coaching, you lose your name.
I don't. Well, it just becomes shorter and shorter. Like, I'm trying to think of other examples of how this has gone, and if it didn't happen to Belichick, but let Belichick have gone 4-13 one more time, and he would have all of a sudden been Billy. It would have been old Billy Belichick. I'm just telling you, that's how that goes. All right, let's talk Caitlin Clark.
So last night, Caitlin Clark set the WNBA record for assists. She had 19, but the Fever still lost to the Dream and are currently 7th place heading into the All-Star Olympic break. How would you evaluate her season so far?
I mean, a flat A. Yeah. I don't if you want to say A- because the turnovers, she has already set the all-time single season record for turnovers, which is kind of bananas. Not for rookies, just for players. But so the turnovers are a legitimate demerit. But from an offensive perspective, I actually think she's been better than even her biggest realistic supporters thought she would be. Right now, she leads the WNBA in assists. She is 15th in points and has a chance at cracking the top 10. And the other element of it is, let me tell you the ages, she's 22, of the people ahead of her in points per game. 27, 29, 27, 30, 27, 26, 29, 30, 33, 26, 29, 34, 32, 25. 25, by the way, so the youngest person who's 0.1 ahead of her is actually Kennedy Carter, who's been excellent. The girl who has been good. I think people know her name because of the flagrant little shoulder bump heard around the world. But there is, if we want to go, the Aaliyah Boston, her teammate, is the only other person under 24 averaging more than 14 a game, and she's at 14.2. And the only other person under 24 averaging more than, I want to make sure I get this right, double digits other than those two is Angel. And Angel's averaging 13 a game. So then you go to the assists where she's first.
Right.
Yeah, so and here's the rest of the top 5 in assists their age. 32, 32, 33, 26, 28. And she's first. I mean, I understand, and I try to be more than lightly, sympathetic to folks that have a lot of emotion tied up in how Caitlin was covered versus how Angel was covered, and a lot of that, which is real stuff, and we have discussed a lot. But on the basketball side of things, if you are out here denying how brilliant she has been, you're just being dishonest. She's on a team that had back-to-back number 1 overall picks. They are going to firmly be in the playoffs. She is putting up 17 points, 6 rebounds, and 8 assists a night, which, again, you have to adjust your mind for WNBA stats versus NBA stats. The games are lower scoring and the games are shorter. And she has got her percentages back up, where she's now over 40% from the field and 33% from three. And as good as Angel has been, Angel, who's giving you 13 and 12 a night, which is awesome. She is shooting percentage-wise the exact same from the field as Caitlin, despite the fact that Caitlin is shooting 8 threes a game and Angel is shooting 1 3 every 3 games. She's averaging 0.4 3-point attempts a game. So again, you don't have to blow out someone else's candle to make someone's shine brighter. Angel Reese is having a Rookie of the Year caliber season for the majority of seasons in WNBA history. But this ain't one of them. And the other thing about the triple-double that Caitlin had the other night, in the entire league, this again reminds you kind of the way the numbers are different NBA, WNBA. In the entire league this year, not rookies, players, there have been 4 triple-doubles. They're incredibly rare in the WNBA. And so Angel's double-double streak was spectacular. The fact that she has 17 double-doubles on the season is great. That's first in the league. Caitlin is tied for 6th on double-doubles. And that's, you typically points and assists. And she had 19 last night. She was this close to having a 20-20 game, which obviously has never happened in WNBA history. Both of those young women are more than holding up their end of the bargain. And I saw Shaq yesterday come out and say Angel's the Rookie of the Year. She's not. Could it change post-Olympics? Maybe. But right now, it's pretty clear, if we're doing a fair voting, up to this point, if they voted, there should be a unanimous first place and a unanimous second place. No one should have Angel lower than 2, but you can't make a cogent basketball-related argument that Caitlin Clark hasn't been the Rookie of the Year thus far. And I think this Olympic break, man, I think she's going to come out on fire post-Olympics. And I think the Fever, listen, the Fever are not going to, there is a very clear hierarchy in the league. The Liberty are the best team. The Sun are the second best team. The Aces are the 2-time defending champs and have clearly the best player in the league in Asia Wilson. And then the Lynx and Storm are excellent. Those are your 5 best teams. I would personally power rank them Liberty 1, Aces 2, Sun 3, and then Lynx Storm kind of tied. After that, it's anyone's ball game. And it's pretty clear at this point who the other 3 playoff teams are going to be. The Mercury with Diana Taurasi, the Fever with Caitlin Clark, and the Sky with Angel Reese. Because the other 4 teams, Dream, Sparks, Mystics, and Wings, are just bad. Even though one of them just obviously beat the Fever last night. And they're not going to make up the ground. But I'm really interested to see if the Fever can catch the Mercury in the standings and then maybe clip the Storm or the Lynx in round 1. That would be great for the sport. Also, I saw this morning the WNBA announced their 3-point competition, and there's 5 people, and Caitlin nor Sabrina are one of the 5. I didn't do enough research on that to figure out how and why that can be the case, but Sabrina was out here competing with Steph in a 3-point competition, and Caitlin is one of your most popular players in the league and one of your best 3-point shooters in the league. It seems at first blush a little odd to have neither in the 3-point competition, but I didn't read enough about it to really have a take on it, but that struck me as an odd basketball and business decision. All right, Demonze, let's take a quick break, talk a little Team USA men's ball, play a game of right or wrong, and we have an F1 minute. What's right? All right, welcome back in. What's Right with Nick Wright, episode 249. Demonze, let's do a little Team USA men's basketball before we get to right or wrong.
Yeah, so things are going swimmingly for Team USA. They blew out Jokic in Serbia, 105-79 yesterday. One of the huge
basically dominant from after 10 minutes into the game. They dominated the entire rest of it. But go ahead.
Did Jokic not seem way more like? I mean, I get he's playing for his country. He seemed very animated. He seemed to be taking that game personally. Really wanted to win.
Well, yeah, I think he was. Also, I think Jokic was like, I need better teammates. Like, I think Jokic is like, this kind of sucks. Like, this is not that much fun. But go ahead.
So, but yeah, one of the huge storylines from this is if Ant will emerge as the guy. So obviously he's got the confidence in the game to back it up. But now he's saying he could beat anybody on Team USA in swimming. So it got me thinking, if the stars of the Team USA decided to put themselves in another sport, which type of Olympic sport would they join?
Well, I don't know if anyone has ever watched handball, but handball, I'm quite certain with a couple months training, we could just take our men's basketball team and win the gold every year. So like and again, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could maybe take a quick break and just go to YouTube or open another YouTube window and type in Olympic handball. Imagine like indoor soccer, like that type of court, but there's a 3-point line, there's a goalie, and there is that around that size of goal, like an indoor soccer goal, but it's handball. And so there's a lot of basketball elements to it and athleticism to it. So I am certain we would crush in handball. Bill Simmons said years ago, did a column about which NBA players would make great U.S. soccer national team members if we gave them the training. And a lot of soccer fans found that insulting. I don't. He said, for example, Sean Marion would be an elite goalie. Well, so obviously. So like, except Sean Marion, that's 15 years ago. But peak athletic LeBron as a 6'8" octopus in goal, I think would be pretty good. I think LeBron could be a goalie. I would imagine that with the right training, Steph would be a brilliant midfielder. You know what I mean? Like because of his movement, his hand-eye coordination.
Because I was thinking of him thinking of him as a scorer.
So midfielders do score some, but they have to play both ends. You know what I mean? Defenders mostly hold back. Forwards mostly play forward. Midfielders, the reason I said midfielder is it's the most exhausting of all the spots because you got to be, playing both ends on it. Yeah. I think Anthony Edwards as a striker because leaping ability to get up for headers, strength, speed. You know what I mean? So those are the things that immediately come to mind. And people, given how Team USA, our U.S. men's national team looks in soccer, it's not a terrible idea. It's honest, like that take. And I have said, man, I really do think that U.S. soccer should go to some high schools across the country and recruit the way the U.S. military used to or maybe still does and be like, hey, who's your star at like some 6A Texas high school? Do you have a star running back? A guy who since he was 12 years old, people are like, oh, he's going to go play at Texas A&M and have a full ride and probably be a pro. You have a guy like that and he plays running back? Okay, let me talk to him. And just show them a chart of running back, career length, career earnings, and then soccer. Career length, career earnings. And like, can we get you in a camp, man? Can we get you in an academy? We've got 330 million people in this country, maybe more. Can we convince some of, at a young age, again, when I'm talking about for basketball, they haven't played in so long, it's probably not realistic. But if you get a kid who is just a freak, like I believe DeMonze could have been great at almost any sport if at a young age you had focused on it. And I'm not trying to like just make you feel good, but like you're big, you're strong, you can jump high, you're fast, you're coordinated. And you just picked basketball. You know what I mean? You picked basketball and focused on it, and you were great at basketball. But if you had, I to this day believe that if you had decided, or if I had pushed you or whatever, at 13, I want to do the hurdles, that you would have been an awesome hurdler because you have the body of a hurdler, the height. Yes, you're not like raw, like crazy fast like a sprinter. It has to be, but you're very fast in the and when you see guys who are, a lot of these guys like Mahomes, I'll use as an example. It's like, oh, who was the best high school basketball player in his district? Patrick Mahomes. Who was the best baseball player in his district? Patrick Mahomes. Who was the best football player? Those just raw, pure athletes. If you get them young enough,
I didn't know Mahomes was a basketball guy as well.
That's what he said he wanted to
I thought it was always baseball, football, and he wanted to go. Oh, that's crazy.
No, basketball was his favorite, but I think basketball was what he was, quote, worst at. Right. But worst, he was still all state in Texas. And so but the problem for that is he's 6'2". You know what I mean?
He chose the right.
And so
he chose the right gig.
No, he obviously chose the right path. But my point is, those raw, natural, crazy athletes, if we got more of those guys, instead of guys who are good athletes who always love soccer, guys who are crazy athletes, and be like, bro, focus on soccer. The best soccer players in the world make more money than LeBron. And the second-tier soccer players in the world all make way more money than Saquon Barkley. And, let's talk about this. So I don't know if that really answers the question. I think people immediately think NBA players and high jump, but that is like so specialized in how you do it. Like the body control, because when you see the guys
you just run up and jump like sideways.
Pole vault. You just run up, and right. It's I do think some of these guys would be good long jumpers and triple jumpers. Yeah. But the high jump is such a unique kind of
niche sport.
Well, it's not niche. Sure it is, but I'm saying the fundamentals of it are so specific, like the footwork of it. All right, let's play right or wrong before we get to the F1 minute.
Right or wrong, first off, we got our Brandon Aiyuk. He officially demanded a trade from the 49ers after failing to reach a contract extension. The Avengers may be breaking up, despite how little San Francisco is paying Purdy right now. Right or wrong, Aiyuk will be a 49er week 1.
Right. They're not going to trade him. There's not. Debo requested a trade a year ago. They didn't trade him. Their kicker requested a trade. They didn't trade him. Now, those guys did get new contracts. I don't think Aiyuk will. But they know that Purdy needs all the Avengers around him. They're not trading him. They're just not. And could they franchise and trade him a year from now? Maybe. But they're not trading him. But they also can't pay him, I don't think. They paid Debo. They paid Bosa. They paid Trent. They paid McCaffrey. They paid Kittle. And they're worried they might have to pay Purdy. I mean, they hope that they have to pay Purdy. The only way they don't have to pay Purdy is if Purdy melts down this year in epic proportions. So so I don't think they're going to pay him. All right, next.
So my dude Jordan Love and the Packers appear to be closing in on signing an extension, but there's no deal yet. And Jordan Love said that he thought that he'd have a contract by training camp. What's going on here? Right or wrong, Love is waiting for Dak to sign. I think you should wait for Dak to sign.
Oh, no. Well, he might be waiting a full year then. No, I'll tell you what I think screwed it up. Honest to God. You want to know what I think screwed it up? My guy Trevor's deal. I think that they were offering him a deal that was less than like the Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert standard. Like, hey, you haven't accomplished as much as those guys. Like, you come in, a little lower. And then Trevor got his, and he's like, I've accomplished as much as him. What are we talking about? You're saying I only have one great year? What about him? You're saying I only have one playoff win? What about him? And so I think that's what screwed it up.
Yeah,
Honest to God.
That's fair.
I think that I have no intel on that. It's just, to me, he looked at Trevor's deal and says, why would I not get what he got?
Right. Hey, hold out. I respect it.
And they don't want, they don't want to tell him because, I mean, come on. You're not the prince that was promised, buddy. We like you, but you're not Trevor Lawrence. But still, Trevor got 5 for 275. And so I think that screwed it up. And so I think that'll be a tricky negotiation because as great as he looked the final 3 months of last year, it is 3 months. And they're like, oh, boy. But they have no choice but to pay him.
The way they embarrassed Dallas was very convincing. But so you're saying, so are you saying Trevor over Love?
Well, I mean, yeah. I think Trevor's a better quarterback than Jordan Love. But I understand why people.
He's still got his claws in you, man. This is crazy.
What? I mean, I don't know. I mean, they throughout the rookie season, he was awesome in year 2. He had the second biggest comeback in playoff history, or third biggest comeback in playoff history, and then in year 3, they were 8-3, playing for the 1 seed, and he suffered a catastrophic ankle/knee injury that was so bad, people wanted an investigation as to why he wasn't carted off the field. And now everyone has memory hold that, and they're like, what happened to the Jags? And it's like, I don't know, man. We saw him get bent over backwards 3 different ways and then hobble to the locker room, and the season fell apart. So, yeah, I still believe in Trevor. Next.
All right. Just after the show Tuesday, Pat Bev signed a 2-year deal with the Israeli basketball team Hapoel Tel Aviv for $4 million. Right or wrong, this is the last time we'll hear from Patrick Beverley. Pat Bev, actually, my bad. Pat Bev.
I'm not sure I buy the contract. Just for the record, I know that it was initially reported at $2 million. Now people are saying $4 million. So I'm not sure. Obviously, Demonze, classic one by me. Great tweet that I had. Will Pat Bev have his podcast translated next year for the reporters in that country, or is he going to make an exception? Good day for the NBA. You know what I mean? That's a good day for the NBA. Go enjoy.
Is
Pat
Bev the same thing as Bob Sala, Robbie, Bobbert, whatever you're calling him?
No, it's the opposite, actually. That's a cool nickname that he doesn't deserve.
Right.
Like that, it's the opposite. He should be given his standing in the league and accomplishment. He should be occasionally called Patrick Beverton or Peter Beverly, like where people are like, oh, I got the name wrong, darn it. Like I on TV the other day called Emmanuel Quickly Isaiah Quickly, like where it's like you're not quite relevant enough for everyone to know your exact name. Instead, somehow he got a nickname that everyone knows. So it's the opposite. Cool. All right. It sounds cool. Yeah, 100%. All right, next.
Mahomes is reportedly bringing a TV to Chiefs training camp for the first time. His reasoning is to watch the Olympics and play college football 2025. So I've got 2 for you here. First, right or wrong, Mahomes is distracted, and more importantly, right or wrong, you and Mahomes will play NCAA 25 together.
All right, so the first one, obviously wrong, not distracted. The second one, maybe, but first of all, I don't know if he's an Xbox or PlayStation guy. Second of all, I've got to actually play the game and see how good I am at it before I would want to you know what I mean, play with, publicly play. But I do think he and I, in the off season, if we like streamed a college football 25 match between us, that would do numbers.
Yeah.
That would be dope. I actually had a dream about NCAA 25 last night because I don't have it yet. And I had a dream that I went to the store and bought it and got home and they had given me the disc for Madden instead of NCAA. And I was so annoyed because I already had Madden. So then I tried. I'm like, you know what? I'm in the dream. I was like, I'm just going to download it. But then it was like, it's 7 hours to download. And I was devastated. And then I woke up. So
I must have been watching Netflix.
That all happened. Yeah. All right. Quick break. Come back with our F1 minute. What's right? Welcome back in. What's right with Nick Wright, episode 249. Today's show wasn't live, so we obviously can't do listener questions. So instead, we will leave you today with our F1 minute from Sierra Fidel previewing this weekend's race. Tuesday, we'll recap that race, ton of NFL, and does Tiger win the British Open? Probably not. Does he make the cut? God, I hope so. He's minus 300 to miss the cut. That was a bummer. As of recording, he had birdied number 3, bogeyed number 4. I'm afraid to check the score right now. Enjoy the F1 minute. See you guys on 2. Oh, but also, one other thing. Major positive first things first announcement coming on today's show. So a little preview for that. It's a positive announcement relating to first things first. And it is not what the internet thinks it is. So all that, enjoy the F1 minute. Talk to you guys later. What's right?
Welcome back. We're going to talk all things Hungarian Grand Prix this time around because we are entering the 13th round of the 2024 Formula 1 season. So we're going to be in the Hungaroring in Budapest. So it should be interesting. So I'm going to bring forth some things to look out for if you're tuning into the race this Sunday. So let's get into it. As far as the circuit itself, it's sometimes referred to as the Monaco without walls. So overtaking is super tricky, basically, and their position in qualifying is super important because it's going to play a significant role in the actual race on Sunday. All right, so can Mercedes pull off another win? That's what we all want to know. I mean, they've beaten Red Bull back-to-back, and this hasn't happened since 2022. So we're looking to see if they can pull off another one. And it's an interesting dynamic for the team because Lewis Hamilton is looking to really push the team forward and to end his season on a high note with the team. And George Russell needs to show that he can be the leader of next year's team because he will be most likely the senior driver. One driver in particular that I'm sure everyone will be watching this weekend is Nico Hülkenberg because he's absolutely outperformed all expectations because he's in a Haas, which is not the best car on the grid. And he outperformed Ferrari last weekend. He got P6 and he was ahead of Leclerc by a landslide. And then he was just behind Carlos Sainz who got P5. So he's been able to give Haas more points in the last 2 Grand Prix than Sergio Perez has been able to give points to Red Bull in the last 6. So he's really showing his tail, and I want to see if he can do it even better. So my predictions. I'm going to go Lando Norris, number 1, Max for number 2, and then I'm going to do a Mercedes for number 3. I just don't know which one. I don't know if it'll be Lewis or George, but it's going to be one of them, I think. Before I go, I'm going to quickly read off the standings for the Drivers' Championship and then the Constructors. So, obviously, first, Max Verstappen with 225 points. Norris with 171, Leclerc 150, Sainz 146, Piastri 124, Perez 118, Russell 111, Hamilton 110, Alonso 45, Stroll 23, Hülkenberg 22, Tsunoda 20, Ricciardo 11, Behrman 6, Gasly 6, Magnussen 5, Albon 4, Ocon 3, and Guan Yu, Sargent, and Bottas with 0. And then, so bear with me. It's important. Constructors, the teams. We have Red Bull with 373, Ferrari 302, McLaren 295, Mercedes 221, Aston Martin 68, Visa Cash App 31, Haas 27, Alpine 9, Williams 4, and Stake F1 Sauber 0. All right, I'm out. That's been your FO Minute for today. I'm excited to see if McLaren can pull off a second place in the Constructors, because Ferrari is only 302 and McLaren is 295. So I think they can push ahead. But we'll see how everything plays out after the Grand Prix this Sunday. And I'll talk to you guys after. Bye.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you're still here, do me a favor. Hit the subscribe button, then hit the bell so you can be notified when we have new episodes. After you've done that, one more favor, go to your favorite audio platform of choice and subscribe there as well. Don't forget, we're live every Tuesday and Thursday, 10:30 a.m. Eastern-ish. 10:35, 10:40, it sometimes changes, but that's why you hit the bell. You hit the bell so you're notified. You subscribe so we can get to 200,000 followers. We're right around 150,000. We'd love to get to 200,000, get Demonze another plaque. So like, subscribe, rate, send a rating too. Do all that cool stuff. Thanks, guys.